Right now, on this entire planet, only one kind of animal is crying real, emotional tears. Not tears to clean the eye, not tears from an onion or the wind, tears of grief, of joy, of overwhelming feeling. You, us, human beings, and nothing else. Every other animal on Earth, the loyal dog, the grieving elephant, the intelligent ape, feels emotion, sometimes deeply, but not one of them weeps because of it. This strange, watery response to feeling too much is ours, and ours alone. And that is genuinely bizarre. Why would evolution take a fluid meant to protect the eye and wire it directly to the human heart? Why would we, of all creatures, spill water down our faces when we are sad, or moved, or full of love? The answer reveals something profound about what kind of animal we became, and why one of the things that looks most like weakness may actually be one of our greatest strengths. Let's be clear about what we're talking about, because it's easy to miss how unique this is. All animals with eyes make tears of a kind. There are the tears that keep the eye wet and healthy, and the tears that wash out dust or sting. Your dog makes those. A crocodile makes those. Every creature does. These are plumbing, simple maintenance for the eye. But there is a third kind of tear, and it belongs to you alone. Emotional tears. The ones that come not from your eye, but from your heart. The tears that rise when you are overwhelmed with sorrow, or so happy you can't contain it, or watching something unbearably beautiful. No other animal on Earth does this. It appears to be a purely human invention. Think about how strange that is. We share so much with other animals: hunger, fear, love, even a kind of grief. But somewhere on our particular branch of the tree of life, feeling became so powerful, so central to who we are, that it started to overflow. Literally, it spilled out of our eyes in a way no creature had ever done before. So the question isn't just, why do we cry? It's why did feeling, in humans, become something the whole body has to release? And the answer, it turns out, is deeply tied to the kind of social creature we became. Here is the first clue. Crying is a signal, and a very honest one. Start with the very first crying every human ever does. A baby. A newborn cannot speak, cannot point, cannot explain. It has exactly one tool to reach the people it depends on for its life: its cry. And that cry is almost impossible to ignore. It cuts straight through you. It demands attention, care, comfort. For a species with the most helpless, longest dependent babies in all of nature, that signal is survival itself. A baby that could summon care, powerfully and instantly, was a baby that lived. And so crying begins, at the very start of life, as a lifeline between the helpless and the ones who love them. But here's the deeper thing about tears specifically. They are hard to fake. You can force a smile. You can pretend to laugh. But real tears, welling up in the eyes, are very difficult to summon on command. And that is exactly what makes them powerful. Because a signal that is hard to fake is a signal others can trust. When you see someone genuinely crying, some deep part of you believes them. You know this is not an act. This is real pain, real need, real feeling, laid bare, impossible to hide. Tears may be one of the most honest signals a human being can send. They say, without a single word, I am not okay. This is real, and I am showing you the truth of it. And an honest signal like that does something powerful in a social animal. It binds us together. Think about what happens when someone near you begins to cry. Something shifts. You soften. You move closer, not away. You feel the pull to comfort them, to ask what's wrong, to help. Tears reach into other people and pull compassion out of them. That is their quiet magic. For our ancestors, living and dying by the strength of their group, this was enormously valuable. A person in pain who could show that pain, visibly, honestly, undeniably, was a person the group could rally around. Tears turned private suffering into a shared event. They called the community in. They said, "One of us is hurting, and we need to gather." And crying does something else, something subtle and beautiful. It disarms. It is very hard to stay angry at someone who is genuinely weeping. Tears signal that a person is vulnerable, not a threat, that they have dropped their defenses completely. In a tense moment, tears can melt aggression, invite forgiveness, and pull people back from conflict toward care. They are a white flag the body raises all on its own. So crying wove itself into the social fabric of our kind. Summoned help, it built trust, it softened conflict. It turned the members of a group into people who felt each other's pain and moved to ease it. In a species that survives by belonging, tears became one of the deepest threads holding us together. But wait, there's an obvious problem with all of this. Isn't crying dangerous? In a harsh world, showing weakness can get you killed. Tears blur your vision. They announce to everyone that you are vulnerable, hurting, off your guard, to a rival, to a predator that looks like an opening. So why would evolution ever build a signal that so openly advertises weakness? The answer tells you something crucial about the kind of animal we became. Crying only makes sense in a species where showing vulnerability brings help instead of harm. Where the people around you, seeing your tears, come closer to protect you, not to exploit you. And that is exactly the kind of creature humans became. We built our whole survival on trust, on care, on deep bonds between people who would defend each other. In that world, inside the circle of the group, around the fire, vulnerability was safe. More than safe, it was the thing that summoned the love and protection that kept you alive. So the fact that we cry at all is a kind of quiet proof of how much we came to rely on each other. Tears could only evolve in an animal that had learned, deep in its bones, that the people around it could be trusted with its weakness. Crying is not the mark of a creature that stands alone. It is the mark of a creature that survives by belonging, and knows it. And nowhere is this clearer than when we cry together. Because crying is not only something we do alone. Some of the most powerful moments in human life are moments of shared tears. Standing together in grief at a graveside, weeping at a wedding, or a birth, or a homecoming, being moved to tears, all at once, by the same song, the same story, the same overwhelming moment. When our ancestors gathered to mourn their dead, laying them in the earth as we saw, the tears they shed were not just private pain, they were a bonding ritual. Crying together said, "We have all lost this person. We all feel it. We are in this grief as one." Shared tears turned a loss into something the whole group carried together and made the bonds between the living stronger, even in the face of death. And there may be something releasing in it too. Almost everyone knows the strange relief of a good cry, the way a wave of tears can leave you drained, but somehow lighter, calmer, cleaner. Crying seems to help us discharge overwhelming feeling, to move through it, rather than be crushed by it. It is, in a way, the body's own pressure valve for a heart that feels too much. To weep and to be held while you weep. This is one of the most human experiences there is. It is feeling, made visible, and shared. So let's put to rest the old idea that crying is weakness. Look at what tears actually are. An honest signal, almost impossible to fake, that reaches straight into other people and pulls out their compassion. A lifeline that lets the most helpless among us summon care. A force that softens anger, builds trust, and binds a grieving group together. Tears are not a failure of strength. They are one of the most sophisticated social tools our species ever evolved. And they never left us. You still cry at the things that matter most. Not danger, not pain, but meaning. A film, a piece of music, a reunion at an airport, a wedding. The moment you hold something you love, we cry, most of all, when we are overwhelmed by connection, which is the very thing that made us human in the first place. That is the real secret of human tears. They are the overflow of a heart built for love, in a creature that survives by caring for others. When you cry, you are not breaking down. You are doing something no other animal on earth can do, letting your feeling become visible so that the people around you can feel it too. It is not weakness. It is one of the deepest, oldest signs of just how connected we are, and were always meant to be. So the next time your eyes fill with tears, at a song, at a memory, at something too beautiful or too sad to hold in, don't be ashamed of it. You are doing one of the most uniquely human things there is. You are letting your heart overflow in a way no other creature can, so that others might see it and come closer and share it with you. It is the same signal that summoned care for the first helpless human babies, that gathered our ancestors around their grief, that softened anger into forgiveness around 100,000 fires. Your tears are not a weakness. They are the proof of a heart built for connection, and one of the quiet miracles of being human. This is the story of what our feelings made of us, and there is so much more of it to tell. Sit down at the oldest campfire on Earth and follow along. This is Emberkind.
If you made it all the way here, you're already one of us. Subscribe to Emberkind, leave a like, and I'll see you at the next fire.